Okay, so now let's go for the last exercise of the first module, RoboDK environment and simulation. We're going to go with organized box. So again, this is a basic pick and place example that kind of take all that we did and put it together. So first here we just have a small rack with some blocks on it. The goal will be to stack the blocks here in the colored holes, and we'll try to put the lighter color at the bottom, so light green here, followed by dark green on top. So my goal here is to show you, like, to kind of take all what we learned together and put it in one exercise, and also show you how to save a bit of time while doing so. First of all, as you can see, we don't have any tool attached, so this is something we need to fix. There's a tool here, ePick tool, so I can simply pick that here, bring it directly to on the robot. It will be bring here. As you can see, I purposely kind of made a mistake, which is not really a mistake, it's something that can really happen to you. You will attach the tool like that to your robot, and it will look something like that, which doesn't make sense in any way. It should be obviously like pointing in this direction here. If I double click the tool here, you can see we are 0, 0, 0, and more option. Okay, so 0, 0, 0. The point is that this is the position in this case of the TCP, or if it was an object, just the position of the object. What we need to change right now is the position of the object origin. So we've talked about that in the last video, where we were kind of picking the object depending on either with respect to the robot, the object origin, sorry for that, or the object surface. And I showed you that you could, let's say if this was, let's say that we don't make it part of the robot yet, and I'm just going to create a new reference frame here on which I can load it here, and let's say I'm going to hide the reference frame so that I can just see the object. So this is just an object. If I click show object frame, you can see that for now the y-axis is in this direction, this x-axis in this direction, and the z-axis in this direction. I would generally want to have the z-axis pointing in this direction here, so to make things a bit more simplistic and in accordance to what we would expect in robotics. So to do that, I can click on, because if I do that here and I move, if I show the frame, I can move the object with respect to the frame, but that won't change how this reference frame is positioned. And this is what will kind of drive the position of the tool when you attach it to the robot as a tool. So quick tip here that I didn't show you, I think, pretty sure I did. So right click here, reset, or right click the object, and then no, you don't have a reset here, you just have it here for the object. You have it for the frame here, right click reset. For the object, you need to go here and then reset. It will simply bring it back to 0, so bring all of those values to 0. You see here you have an option click called more option. There's a few things you can do with it, but in reality what you want to do here is now move. I'm going to hide that reference frame here. Now you want to move that object, because here the only thing we see is the object reference frame, and as you can see I'm kind of rotating around that, meaning that I'm actually modifying the origin of that part of that 3D model. So if I do that, I can click apply move, everything will go back to 0 here, and the object is now in this orientation. So if I pick that object and bring it on the robot, it will now be positioned properly. Let's say that I would like to have the robotic naming here on top, so that it's kind of in the right position. I don't need to play with that as an object. I can play with it as a tool like that. So double click on it, click more option, and you have the same exact options here, so I can rotate, let's say 90 degrees around Z, and as soon as I'm done I can click apply to kind of bake in that new reference frame. So that's super important. Like, I'm showcasing stuff with regard to pick and place now, but it's more of an excuse to show more features or more things that will be super useful later for offline programming too. So now I need to position the reference frame, so it's going to be like something like 125 potentially. That would make sense here. Cool. I do not need to see the flange anymore, so right click robot flange. Perfect. One thing here you'll realize, so I have an opportunity to give you another little trick. You can see here we still have a reference frame here, but I deleted frame 4. So why is it still showing here? The reason is because if you double click on the robot here, you have no reference frame active. So that means that the robot keeps the last active reference frame, even if this one was deleted. So if you were to click here ref frame, you would see that this one would disappear, meaning that right now this frame is still active for the robot, even if it doesn't exist anymore. If I was to just right click here and activate this base reference frame, this one will disappear and never be saw again, because this information is now gone. But as long as you did not activate another reference frame, this reference frame will still be visible. So that's the first thing. Okay, now let's start our project, pick and place projects. I'm going to bring the robot near the position here. I have my reference frame part that is in the corner here. Right click, align tool orientation to be squared, and here there's a few things that I can do. So I could just come here and know where this part is and the position here, because I know that this between this corner here and there's 37.5 millimeters, and here this is 75 millimeters. So I know that if I go at 75 and 80 in height, I'll be right in the middle. But that's because I created the station myself and I know where everything is. Another thing that you can do is simply go to make sure that the robot base is at 0, 0, 0, otherwise it won't work. But you can go to tools and then measure. Let's remove all of that and just keep detect plane. I'm gonna click on the top surface here, and it will tell me in absolute, so with respect to the 0, 0 of the station, where this point is. So I can copy that point from here, copy that there. I can double click the robot and say, okay, paste here. Oops, I need to activate the right tool. That will help, otherwise it was the flange. And it will bring the robot right where I measured that position. So let's activate that frame here, target. So that will be my first target. I'm gonna call it pick light yellow. And I'm going to move up to, I don't know, 250, create a new target, and this will be my app light yellow. So that's great. A little sip of water. Talking a lot. So now I could go on and just create the other targets one by one, but that would take a certain amount of time, and I really like to find some, let's say, more efficient way of doing that kind of thing. So what you can do here is simply right click here and add a reference frame. That will create a new reference frame in the reference frame here. Right click and then reset it. So pretty much I just placed it right on top of the part here, because this one, if you were to double click on it, is just 0, 0, 0, 0. Now what I can do is copy those two targets here, Control C and then Control V. Now I just made I'm going to bring the robot back to its home position. So now I just made a copy of those on top, so you don't really see it. And if you were to, they're just one on top of the other. So there's not much to say about that right now. But if I double click frame 4 here, I know that those are 75 millimeters wide and there's 50 millimeters in between. That means that in between this center point here and this center point here, there's 125 millimeters. So I can just enter here for the frame 4 125 millimeters. That will bring those two targets to the right spot. And now I can rename them. So it's going to be light green and light green. And I can pick those. If I double click on them, I can control those, control and select, sorry, right click, and then place them in the part reference frame right here. I can do the same again, paste again, and then this time I'm gonna go to 250, that point here. This one will be dark orange, select those two, right click, change support and part. So just like that, I created 6 targets. I can reset this one to the origin, and now I'm gonna pick all of those, Control C, Control V, and then this time I'm gonna move 125 along the x-axis, so that created 6 new targets in a matter of seconds. So the first one here will be light orange, dark yellow, dark green, dark green. So just like that, select, change support and part, and then I can do that once again, and then this time move to 250. So just like that here, and this one will be place. This one will be light green. Then this one will be app green. Oops, F2 app green. This one will be place light orange. This one will be app orange. This one will be place light yellow, and this one will be app yellow. Cool. I'm gonna select those, change support, part, and the only thing I need here, I will need another set of targets in between to drop the light one, to drop the dark one. So I can reset that again. I can select those 3, Control C, and then Control V, and just move that one up 75 millimeters. Oops, 75 millimeters. Place dark green, dark orange, dark yellow. Select them all, right click, change support, and then part. And then the frame 4 I can get rid of. The job is done for it. Okay, so now I have all the targets. It was really quick. We're already like 13 minutes in, so I'm gonna stop this video here, and I'm going to record the second part where I'm creating the programs.